Along the edges of our properties, where the mower does not quite reach and the tidy garden gives way to tangled growth, there is a wild and forgotten strip of land that most of us never look at closely: your fence line. And it is exactly there, in that overlooked border between your yard and the world, that some of the most dangerous plants of all tend to take hold. Climbing the wire, sprawling through the shrubs, quietly thriving where no one thinks to check. These are not plants you chose. They arrived on their own, carried by birds and wind, and many of them are seriously toxic. Today I'm going to walk you through 8 deadly plants that may be hiding along your fence line right now, so you can find them before they find someone you love. Now let me be clear about my purpose here, the way a good friend would. This is not meant to alarm you, but to open your eyes to a part of your property you may never truly inspect. The fence line is where wild, uninvited plants love to grow, and a little knowledge lets you spot the dangerous ones and deal with them safely. So come with me, in your mind, out to that neglected edge of the yard, and let me show you 8 plants that deserve a careful and knowing look. Many of these climbed in uninvited, planted by no one, which is exactly why they so often go unnoticed until it is too late. We begin with poison hemlock, one of the most infamous poisonous plants in all of history, and a plant that loves exactly this kind of neglected, weedy ground along fences, ditches, and field edges. With its lacy white flowers and fern-like leaves, it looks deceptively like harmless wild carrot or parsley. But every part of it is intensely toxic, and it has grown more common along roadsides and property edges in recent years. It can grow surprisingly tall, towering over a person by midsummer. Learn to recognize its smooth, often purple blotched stems. Keep children and pets far from it, and if you must remove it, do so with great care. Gloves on, never burning it. It is startling how quickly this plant has spread in recent years, turning up along fences and lanes where it was rarely seen a generation ago, which means more families encounter it now than ever before. The second plant is Bittersweet nightshade, a climbing, scrambling vine that adores fence lines, weaving itself through the wire and the shrubs and hanging out clusters of small purple flowers, followed by bright, glossy red berries. Those cheerful red berries are the danger because they look appealing, especially to children, and they are genuinely toxic, as is the rest of the plant. Because this vine grows so eagerly along fences and hedges, it is one of the most common toxic plants to find at the edge of a yard. Learn its distinctive purple and yellow flowers and shiny red berries, and remove it from anywhere children play. Its knack for weaving quietly through a hedge or a chain-link fence means it often goes completely unnoticed until those bright red berries suddenly appear in late summer. Third, we have Moonseed, a climbing vine that carries a particularly dangerous disguise, because its dark purple fruits look remarkably like wild grapes, and it often grows tangled right alongside real wild grapevines on fences and thickets. But Moonseed is toxic, and people have been harmed after mistaking its fruit for edible wild grapes. The key difference lies in the seed inside, for a true grape has round seeds, while Moonseed contains a single flat, crescent-shaped seed. But relying on such a subtle clue is far too risky. The lesson is simple and vital, that no one should ever eat wild grape-like fruit from a fence line without absolute expert certainty. This is one of the most dangerous lookalikes in the whole wild world, precisely because foraging for wild grapes is such a common and tempting pastime. The fourth plant is poison ivy, that notorious climber which finds a fence line to be the perfect home, sending its hairy vines up posts and wire and spreading its clusters of 3 leaflets along the border of countless yards. It harms by touch, not by eating, because its oil causes an itchy, blistering rash in most people, and a fence line thick with it is a hazard every time someone reaches over to garden, retrieve a ball, or mend the fence. Remember the old wisdom: leaves of 3, let it be. Learn to spot it in every season, teach your family to avoid it, and never, ever burn it, as the smoke itself is dangerous. A fence line thick with poison ivy is a hazard that catches people out year after year, usually in the middle of some ordinary chore they never thought twice about. Number 5 is Virginia creeper, a vigorous climbing vine often found right beside poison ivy on fences, though it has 5 leaflets rather than 3. While it is far less notorious, it deserves a place on this list because its dark blue berries are toxic if eaten, and they can look tempting, especially to children, resembling small clusters of dark fruit. The plant's sap can also irritate sensitive skin. Because it blankets so many fences and walls, and because its berries are within easy reach, it is worth knowing. Admire its brilliant red autumn color if you like, but keep those toxic berries away from little ones. Because it so often grows tangled right alongside poison ivy, learning to tell the two apart, 3 leaflets against 5, is a genuinely useful skill for any family. The 6th plant is buckthorn, a tough, invasive shrub or small tree that loves to colonize fence lines, hedgerows, and the untended edges of properties, forming dense thickets. Buckthorn produces clusters of dark berries that are toxic if eaten, causing unpleasant and sometimes serious effects. And birds spread its seeds far and wide, which is exactly how it ends up along so many fences uninvited. Because it grows so aggressively at the edges of yards, and because its berries are within reach, it is worth learning to recognize. If it has taken over your fence line, removing it protects both your family and the health of your local landscape. It is one of those plants that seems to appear from nowhere and take over in just a few seasons, which is why catching it early along the fence is so worthwhile. Number 7 is the wild black cherry, and here the danger is a subtle and surprising one, because while the ripe fruit is used in cooking, the leaves, twigs, and seeds of this common fence-line tree contain compounds that can release cyanide, becoming especially dangerous when the leaves are wilted. This is a well-known hazard to livestock, who can be poisoned by eating wilted cherry leaves after a branch falls or is trimmed. For families, the danger lies mainly in children chewing on twigs or leaves, or swallowing the pits. If a wild cherry grows along your fence, enjoy any properly used ripe fruit with knowledge, but keep children from chewing the leaves, twigs, or seeds. It is a good example of how a single plant can offer both a genuine gift and a genuine hazard, depending entirely on which part is used and how. And finally, the 8th, pokeweed, that tall, dramatic plant with reddish-purple stems and drooping clusters of dark, shiny berries that springs up along fences and in the untended corners of yards everywhere. The mature plant, its deep root, and especially those tempting purple berries, are all genuinely poisonous, and the berries in particular pose a danger to children who mistake them for harmless fruit. Because it thrives in exactly these neglected edges, the fence line is one of the most common places to find it. Learn to recognize its bold purple stems and dark berries. Keep children well away, and remove it carefully from anywhere the little ones roam. Now let me speak gently to those of you who watch over curious and adventurous loved ones. Perhaps you have grandchildren who love to explore the wild edges of the yard, or pets who wander and nibble along the fence, or you simply spend time working and tidying that border yourself. I understand the quiet worry that comes with it, and I want you to know that the answer is not to fear that wild edge, but to know it. Walk your fence line slowly, learn what is growing there, and clear away or fence off the dangerous plants, and you transform an overlooked hazard into a place you understand and control. Teaching the children in your life to recognize these plants, and to never taste any wild berry without a trusted grown-up's word, is one of the most loving and lasting gifts of protection you can give. But honesty and care require that I say this very plainly. If you ever suspect that a child, an adult, or a pet has eaten any part of a poisonous plant, or has a serious reaction after touching one, do not wait to see what happens. Contact your local poison control center or emergency services immediately, and if you can, take a piece of the plant along so it can be quickly identified. Do not try to treat a serious poisoning with home remedies. Fast, professional help saves lives, and it is worth keeping that poison control number somewhere easy to find, long before you ever need it. And when you go out to clear brush along your fence, wear gloves and long sleeves. Know what you are handling, and never burn unknown vines or plants, since the smoke from some can be genuinely harmful to breathe. So the next time you walk the edge of your property, past that tangled, forgotten strip of green you usually ignore, look at it with fresh and knowing eyes. Hidden among the wild growth climbing your fence There may be real dangers you never suspected, quietly waiting where no one thinks to check. This is not a reason to fear your own land, but a reason to know it fully, right out to its very edges, the way our more watchful ancestors once did. Learn these plants, teach the ones you love about them, walk your fence line with open eyes, and stay with me, because knowing the hidden dangers of the wild edges is exactly what lets us and our families enjoy the outdoors in lasting peace.